Will he be in Michael Jordan's class when he retires?
Like Skip Bayless, I think Charles Barkley is correct all the time. No, I think he
says with sarcasm.
I think he is right this time. With the social media, the way LeBron has done things, LeBron talks it in his commercials. He's brought up in every single thing. He's best friends with the #1 rapper. He travels. I mean, he changes the way things are done. So the way the media and the way kids are going to see him are going to see him as the best player.
Okay, that'll be his image,
Right.
Not necessarily reality. Let's keep this to on the court. Will his accolades, will his body of work as a career stack up with Michael Jordan's, in your opinion, when he's done?
I think it can. I think he can. I think he can get to the level that Michael Jordan is at and beyond. I really do.
And
think
beyond.
He can. I really do.
Okay,
I
so
think he's
you're
going to play a
talking
little longer. I think he's bigger, and I think, especially with the new, like I always talk about the rules. Michael Jordan had to deal with hand checking.
Sure.
LeBron doesn't. LeBron can shoot a three better than Michael. He shoots a three-ball way better.
That's wrong.
You don't think so, Michael?
Not later. Michael got pretty good at that shot.
Yeah, because
ask the Portland Trail
he
Blazers.
couldn't jump as high anymore. But going to the basket, LeBron being stronger going to the basket than Michael. I think him putting the ball in the basket, he rebounds better, he assists better than Michael.
Right, definitely.
I really think that LeBron could, if he stays on this path, have a better career.
So you're talking about 7 championships and 7 finals MVPs. That's what you're shooting for.
I think he can.
Wait a minute. That's not fair, Skip.
It is totally fair. That's beyond Jordan.
Let me explain why. Jordan's not beyond Bill Russell, but of course we don't measure it by just rings. There's other things that come into consideration. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 6 rings. Everybody forgets that. Some question whether or not he's the greatest big man ever. Everybody keep talking about Bill Russell and his championships in comparison to Jordan. How about Bill Russell compared to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? The man with the most unstoppable move in the history of the game, the sky hook. And he has 6 world championships to go along with it. But we don't mention his name, so clearly it's not just about rings, it's about other things. However, with that being said, this to me, when you talk about LeBron James, John, Sally, my whole thing about LeBron is that it's insulting to Michael Jordan to even mention him in that same breath because of this extra something inside your chest. However, LeBron, if he wins the title this year, and then he moves forward, and then all of a sudden, everything that's been in the past in terms of him shriveling beneath the pressure and all of that stuff, if that's a distant memory, and then he moves forward, and then he wins his 5, 6, 7 chips, then, okay, Barkley's absolutely right. You could do that. But what I'm saying is his greatness can't just be measured by his skill. And it can't just be measured by championships that he's fortunate enough to win because he's on the right team in the right situation and all of that stuff. When I think about Michael Jordan, I think about that dude that had Scottie Pippen, Mr. Migraine, before Scottie Pippen got it going on and really elevated his game to another level. I think about the guys I think about the Michael Jordan that had to play with Stan Albeck, as the coach, and Kevin Lofrey before that, and went against Larry Bird in Boston and dropped 63. I'm thinking about the Michael Jordan that just was a killer, that gave you the impression that he'd step on your throat to take you out. Those elements to his game. When I talk about LeBron James, if I'm going to ever compare LeBron James to MJ, I don't think about skills because I think LeBron is a freak of nature. So clearly he's got an advantage.
You think he's more skilled than Jordan?
I think absolutely, without question. But Michael Jordan's will somehow, some way usurped all of that. And to me, when we talk about comparing somebody to Michael Jordan, they got to have that.
First point of order here. Michael Jordan was a much better shooter than LeBron has ever dreamed of being. And I'm talking about a jump shooter, three-point shooter, free throw shooter, however you want to say shooter, outside the paint.
Yes. But Michael Jordan didn't really go beyond the three-point line, but
but
he was a better shooter.
Yeah.
He was a better shooter.
Okay. Here's my
Yes, he
issue.
was, John. Stop shaking your head with that.
Do you realize we are talking about a player who is 9 seasons into his NBA career, and he's still the ringless king. At this moment, LeBron James still has no rings, and you are projecting that after he's been in this league for 9 years, suffering playoff disaster after disaster after disaster, that suddenly the switch will be flipped, and he will win effectively. And again, I'm projecting this out. somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 championships with 7 Finals MVPs.
Okay, I'm going to say this. You lived here in South Florida. There was a great quarterback named Dan Marino with no rings. He's a great quarterback. He's a great guy, but he's on a team. Now, if we were talking about Tiger Woods or Serena or any single sport, boxing, then we can have this. But when you have 4 other guys who have their own entourages and their own backup, yeah, you have to. LeBron has one basketball. If the game was like it used to be, throw the ball to Michael and move out of the way, yeah.
Okay.
And remember, Michael was going to the basket. It's a whole different. Plus, this guy's 9 seasons in, but he came in when he was 18 years old. So he came in as an adolescent. Wasn't even able to drink or
But
go
he was
to a
King
club.
James.
Well, but one thing
That's not fair.
Some kings are
He
born
played
into
Michael
it.
Jordan, and Michael Jordan played for the great Dean Smith before he ever played pro. Let's take
What do you
that into
wanna ask?
consideration.
Well, you asked the question with LeBron has no rings. Are you telling me that he's going to win 7? If we rewind to when Michael Jordan was 27 years old and he had none at that point, that question might have seemed just as absurd when trying to project how
Okay.
many Michael would win.
Had Michael gone up against the underdog Dallas Mavericks in a finals and frozen up in the fourth quarter?
No, but he hadn't yet cleared the hurdle of winning the ring. And the players
Okay.
that have won it always talk
And-
about the progression that is involved with finally
And
getting
Skip,
there.
you have to be fair because you remember the media back then because you were one of them, even though you didn't feel that way, you didn't feel the way that they did. There were a whole lot of people questioning MJ, when you going to get it done? When you going to get it done? There was a whole lot of people questioning that,
but,
Skip.
But again, you got the bad boys to go
Right.
through. You got Bird, you got Magic, you got Kareem and Worthy.
Well,
obviously.
Bird and them were out the way by that
okay,
time.
but
Bird was on the
sorta,
downside.
I mean, early on.
Right.
Early on, he had to deal with them in the postseason.
Right.
So look, back to the Marino thing. Did Dan Marino ever leave Miami to join forces with a top 5 running back in another city?
He should have.
and a top 15 receiver in another
Okay,
city?
let's go
No.
to that. Everyone
Okay.
talks about LeBron leaving Cleveland. Who doesn't leave Cleveland? Every producer I know in California is from Cleveland.
I left Cleveland.
You like